This is a Bailey Ranger 462. Just going to take you around the van and show you how it operates. Front of the van, you've got your jockey wheel, hitch and handbrake. We'll demonstrate these to you in person here on site. In the front locker, you've got your gas bottle tie down with your 6 kilogram propane gas bottle. You can actually carry a maximum of 2 6 kg gas bottles at any point on board this caravan, with your gas open and closed on top of the bottle. Anti-clockwise is open and closed is clockwise. You also got your spare wheel for the caravan in the front locker also. You've got your wind down leg on either side at the front of the caravan to stabilise the caravan while it's on site. They're only there for stabilising the van, not lifting the caravan. If you lift the caravan with these, it could potentially damage the floor of the caravan itself. Going further down the side of the van, you've got your water pump connection which pushes in, as you can see. You use the cap here to lock it in place. Then to remove it, you pull it out and release it from the side of the caravan. The pickup pipe itself actually needs to be fully submerged in the water, so you need to make sure the pump end, which is just down here on the end here, is right down inside that water supply, and you'd never turn it on until that pump is fully submerged. You've then got your heating and hot water fluid, so you remove this cover on the side of the van. As you can see, a bit more gracefully than what I did it, but remove that cover and before you ignite anything on gas inside of the caravan. However, I do advise you to get into a habit of removing it prior to turning any heating, hot water on, etc. inside the caravan. You then got your two fridge vents. The two fridge vents are very simply there to allow the hot out of the back of the fridge unit and to take some cool air in. And then behind the cover on the top right hand side, you'll also see there is a gas flute for when the fridge is running on gas. Toilet flush tank, you'll put the key in here, open the flap up, and you'll put 3.5 litres of water in here prior to use, as this is your toilet flush tank, and a cap full of the pink fluid prior to use also. You've then got your toilet waste cassette. You'll pull up the yellow handle at the bottom here, pull the cassette towards you. The grey neck here turns out 90 degrees, so you can tip the waste away. The yellow cap is a measure for your pink and your blue fluid. And on the back of the cassette there's a yellow pressure relief button, so when you're tipping the waste away, it doesn't spit and splatter back at you. In this cassette you'll need to put 1 litre of water and a cap full of the blue fluid prior to use. On the back of the van, you've got 2 wind down legs to stabilise the caravan while it's on site. Again, they are only there for stabilising, not lifting the caravan. Coming down the door side of the van, you've got your battery with your quick release connections on top. So you've got blue and the red one, so obviously the blue one is your negative and the red is your positive. You've then got your mains power supply coming into the caravan. Your 3-pin socket so you can have power out to your awning, and the last of the wind down legs. The motor mover and wheel nuts, we will torque the wheel nuts to the correct setting prior to use, and we'll also demonstrate the motor mover to you prior to use. So as you can see, we're now on the inside of the caravan. You've got your master power switch here for your 12 volt systems on board the caravan. This will also isolate the 240 as well. So you'll flick the switch on, power comes on, and your voltmeter comes up here. This is indicating to us how much power we've got in the battery on board the caravan. Once you've got the power turned on, you can come underneath the seat on the front right hand side of the caravan and you'll find a yellow valve. That yellow valve is your drain down valve for the water system on board the caravan. So with that valve flat with the floor, you can fill the water system up, and with that valve pointing upright towards the bottom of the seat, it'll actually drain all of the water out of the system onto the floor underneath the van. So with that valve flat with the floor, we can then come over to every tap on board the caravan and open all the taps up on the hot side of the water system. As you see, I wouldn't pre-fill the system on this van, just so it sped up the process a bit. But once all the taps are open, you can then come over to your water pump switch, turn your water pump on, and it will start filling the system on board the caravan. Once that water system is completely full, and you have water running out of every tap continuously on board the caravan with the water pump turned on this side, then you can shut all the taps back off, and as you can see, the water heating is on, so as you should be able to see there, it's steaming away. But now I'll show you how to warm that water now we've filled that system up. So, below the seating area on the front right hand side of the caravan, you'll see you've got 2 switches here. You've got your electric water heating when you're on mains power. Excuse me, sir. So to warm your water up on mains power, you'll flick this switch on down the bottom, and as long as you're on mains power, and you've got this red indicator showing here, it means your water heater will start warming up. Now, the electric water heater isn't powerful enough to boost the water system when you're showering on board the van. So what we always recommend you do is use the gas on this control switch above. To operate the gas supply on the water heater, you'll spin the outer grey dial round to the flame symbol, so there's little tabs pointing towards it, and the green light you see here is a pilot light for your water system. If it fails to ignite on gas, you'll get a red light appear next to it, which you've just seen appear just here, and the reason for that at the moment is because the gas is turned off. However, when it ignites on gas, you'll be able to control the water temperature between 30 and 70 degrees of water temperature. So when you're off-grid, you'd use this as your water heater, but also when you're showering on board the van when you're on site, you'd need to use the gas as a boost when you're showering. You just select the temperature on the dial here, between 30 and 70 degrees for it to boost. And just so you're aware, the water heating on the electric side is around 30 to 40 degrees of water temperature, but like I said, it just will not warm up quick enough to boost the water system for showering. Going back to the opposite side of the van, and we've got the heater for the caravan. Now, to operate the heating on electric, you have two switches up on the wall. You have the main power switch for the water heater, or the room heater, sorry, just here, so you need to have this switch on, which then puts power to this control on the right hand side. Now in the centre here, you have the off position for the electric heater. You've then got the option of 500, 1000 or 2000 watts down the side. Now depending on what site you're on, will depend on what you set this to, but if you're not sure what to set this to when you arrive on your holiday, we do advise you ask your site office. So we're going to set it to 500 watts. The green light will appear in the back here, then you can control the temperature of the heater on this dial in the centre. I'm actually going to put it up to 1000 watts, so when you come into the van it warms up nicely. Obviously if you're on a site with 2000 watts available, then you can use a 2000 watts, and that is when the heating would be at its most efficient setting. Down below we have the heater itself. Now with this heater you can also run it on gas, so with the gas turner in the front lock, you'll spin the dial on the left hand side around between 10 and 9, hold down the gas valve and hit the igniter on the left hand side here at the same time. So you hold down the valve, hit the igniter. Once it's ignited on gas, you'll need to continue to hold down the gas valve, and you'll find your pilot light in this window just down the front here. Once it has ignited, you'll continue to hold down the gas valve for a further 5 to 10 seconds, then slowly release the valve, and then you'll be able to control the temperature of the heater on gas on this dial on top. Obviously the higher you go, the hotter the heating will be. To isolate the gas supply, you spin the dial back round on top to the 0 position, so it is past the 0, and it will turn off the gas supply to the heater itself. Now with the heating, you've actually got the option to use blown air heating as well. So that's what this dial is for on the top right hand side of the heater. The dot in the centre here indicates the heat is going to come out the front of the heater, which is what I'm going to leave it on when you come into the caravan. Like I said, you do have the option of blown air, but we do recommend you let the heating warm up first on the central position, so the heat is coming out the front and so it's nice and warm. And then when it has warmed up, you can use continuous blown air, so that means the heat is going to come out the vents around the caravan. You've got a fan speed dial on top between 1 and 5. Obviously the higher you go with this, the hotter or the more air it will blow around the van. And on the opposite side you've got automatic blown air. So essentially what this means is it's going to cut in and out with the thermostat on board the caravan. You can still adjust the fan speed when it's on the automatic setting. Next up we're going to come to the fridge. So on the left hand side top of the fridge here, you've got the option for your 12 volt supply for when you're travelling down the road. Now this will only operate when you are connected to the car and then when you have the right connections on the back of your car. If you don't have the right connections on the back of your car, your fridge will not operate as a cool box whilst you're travelling down the road. If you have got the right connections, you need to come inside, flick this switch into the up position, and the fridge will operate as a cool box. If you want to use the fridge on mains power, you need to have this switch turned on next to it so it goes green. When it's off, you'll see it's off. You need to have it in the upright position to make sure it works on the 240 volt, and then you control the temperature of the fridge on this dial on the left hand side. If you want to use the fridge on gas, it's very simple to use. You've got the off position just here with a dot next to it. To get to operate on gas, so you need to put it around to the flame symbol, hold in the temperature valve, hold in the gas valve, and then hit the igniter at the same time. Once the fridge is ignited on gas, you will have a pilot light in this window at the back. Once that pilot light is lit, again you'll need to continue to hold in the gas valve for a further 5 to 10 seconds, then slowly release the valve. You'll then be able to control the temperature of the fridge on this dial on the right hand side between 1 and 5. Obviously the higher you go, the colder the fridge is going to be. Hob, grill and oven, all work very much like your household appliances. You will need one of the clicker style matchsticks to allow you to ignite the hob. And then coming into the bathroom, we have the toilet system. The toilet system is very simple to use. Pump flush, so you pull the handle up and down to flush the toilet system. The toilet seat itself actually turns for your convenience, as you can see. However, when you're using the toilet, we do advise that you open up the waste handle prior to using it, so the waste goes straight into the cassette. Then when you're not using the toilet, we advise you have it in the closed position so it doesn't allow any smells up inside the caravan. You'll also need that flap in the closed position when you try to remove the toilet waste cassette, as if you don't, it will actually stop you from removing it and you can potentially damage the toilet waste cassette itself if it is still open. So that is the Bailey Ranger 462. If you have any further questions on the caravan, please don't hesitate to give us a call here at the Caravan Company and we'll be more than happy to help. We appreciate the business and we look forward to seeing you here on site soon. Thanks again. Bye bye.